Oi oi, it's your boy Hawker back with another video, this time looking at Mad Lions. Mad Lions recently qualified for DreamHack Leipzig and, more impressively, IEM Katowice 2020, which will be Hunden's first big event since 2014 and the rest of the players' first big event full stop. So let's dive into how Mad Lions managed to make it through this stacked qualifier. This first round we're looking at is a full gun round where Mad Lions lost the opening duel earlier in the round. Roy uses his nades over at A while the rest of the team focus on Monster, and they get great timing on this push through Monster with a flashbang to assist them as they enter the site. What I like about this is Mad Lions in the past have generally been known for their executes and their structured play style, so throwing in some basic contact plays like this with good flashbangs can be really effective against teams who aren't expecting you to play this way. And if we take a look from the CT's POVs, they don't know what hit them in this round. The flashbang is on point. And as if those flash assists weren't good enough already, Mad Lions use a further flashbang as they enter the bomb site, this time to set up Hunden for this frag against Sergey. And I think this is a really good example of a flashbang that probably wasn't planned at the start of the round, but is used really well on the fly to give Mad Lions an even greater advantage. It obviously helps when you're styling on ENCE players, with Akel getting this knife kill at the end here. Nicely done. Speaking of styling on ENCE players, this is a round that Mad Lions somehow managed to win with full Glocks! Sorry Days, should have given you a trigger warning. I kind of figured I had to include this round because it's not every day you see a full eco win on the second round. But to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not entirely sure whether this is more indicative of ENCE's struggles or Mad Lions' success. I guess it's probably a bit of both. I mean, it's a nice lineup in Connector through the smoke, but ENCE probably shouldn't be peeking these. And then Mad Lions, to their credit, do well at playing across the entire map at the end here to make sure they can get the bomb planted. And then they just manage to win aim fights against players with full guns, which really shouldn't be happening, but fair play to Mad Lions for somehow pulling through in this round. I guess one of the main takeaways here is if they can out-aim ENCE in this round with full Glocks in some of these gunfights, hopefully they can do the same at Katowice and put up a good fight against some top teams. Let's switch back to something we can analyze a bit more in depth. This is a round where Mad Lions again go a man behind early, and their reaction is to fall back into a contact B play where they are relying on their timing to be able to take the site. And they time this really well because Hunden is able to create so much space here in the back lines. I would say this is playing a sort of Carrigan-esque role where Carrigan sometimes likes to lead the charge on these sorts of rounds to open things up for his teammates, and Hunden just keeps fragging in this round, which isn't something you should expect every day, but when it happens, it can certainly push Mad Lions over the edge. I think the upsides of this are, look, everyone knows Hunden is a bad fragger, even as an in-game leader. But worst case scenario, he goes in, gets some information for his team, gets them onto the bomb site, and gives his stars a better chance of clutching because they have some information to work with. And then best case scenario, he can maybe get some good timing, sneak his way into the enemy's back lines, where he's going to be able to take aim fights against unsuspecting players, which gives him a much better chance of success. And that's what ends up happening in this round. The other thing to think back on is that Mad Lions went a man down earlier in this round, and this is where they go for more of these contact plays, more of these risky plays. When you're down in a 4v5, you kind of have to take a risk, but Mad Lions make sure to do it together and put themselves in a position where they can actually win the round, so credit to Hunden for this call and for the frags. Mad Lions historically have struck me as a team that generally can win rounds when they tactically outplay or outmaneuver their opponents, but they've always struggled when that hasn't been the case. So Mad Lions are trying to fake the A site and then go back for a B take, but because Heroic have got these advanced positions, they can clearly see that it's a fake on A. So as Mad Lions hit the B site, they end up losing the trades and get left in a 2 versus 4. This is where Mad Lions realize they've got to do something to turn this round into their favor, and Roy is the man who, again, makes what I would call a really heads-up play. He decides he needs to go take a fight, he finds a 1v1 duel, and with the bomb being planted on the right side of the train, this puts Mad Lions in with a shout of winning this round. You can see Heroic are always wary of this backstab coming through from Roy. They can never really clear this out. It just puts them in much more of an uncomfortable situation on this retake. And eventually Mad Lions manage to work together to trade successfully and win the round in a really well played 2 versus 4. I think the word I'm probably going to say most throughout this video is timing, and this is another round where the timing is excellent for Mad Lions to open up this round. Mad Lions try to push ramp with 2 players. They end up losing the trades, but they draw the rotate away from the player at Heaven, and while this is happening, it buys time for Bubsky to decide to sneak out onto the A site, and even though this is a risk, if you know a player has rotated away from Heaven, it's much more likely that the hut side is going to be open. So that's where Bubsky decides to push. And once he gets this entry onto the A site, Mad Lions are in control of this round. Heroic are the ones who are having to respond. They're trying to retake. They're trying to get into the bomb site. And it's just not happening for them. So even though it looks a bit weird to go for this ramp push at the start of the round, I think you can see that Mad Lions have got something else in mind. Even though they lose the trades at ramp, they take the A site instead. Here's a round from Mad Lions' CT side where they play super disruptive over at Yard. Acor quickly gets down Secrets, which is spotted by Heroic, but he knows he's been spotted, so he puts down this incendiary and draws a ton of attention in his direction. While this is happening, Roy is also playing aggressive behind the red container with this smoke that was put down. And yeah, there are some gaps in the smoke which make it easier, but he can obviously hear these steps running by. And then in the midst of all the chaos, Mad Lions do a good job at working together to come away with all these kills and to completely stop Heroic in their tracks. Again, pretty simple team play from Mad Lions, but the fundamentals are very important, and sometimes things are going to be simple but effective, and that was definitely the case here. Something else I've noticed about this Mad Lions team is that Bubsky loves to go back to the same spots over and over again and rely on his aim to win him fights if he's feeling it. And this can get really annoying when you're playing on your T side because you're constantly pressured. Here's an example at Hut where he spots the bomb early, and as soon as Mad Lions spot the bomb, I think they can realize this is likely going to be an A split. They adjust accordingly and they completely shut it down. And just 2 rounds later, Bubsky's back at it again, this time pushing through door after hearing the yard smokes and winning another fight in lobby. In this game, I think Bubsky got away with this 3 or 4 times before this 12th round, where finally Snappy counters him and wins the fight. But even when Snappy's really ready for this one, Bubsky comes close to the kill. I think the most important thing here is that even though Bubsky's the star player, he realizes within the system that his team plays that if he just gets away with 1 kill, he puts his team in great shape to win the round. So he just goes for 1 frag and then falls back, which is really nice to see. So let's just step back for a second and discuss the chances for this Mad Lions team heading into Katowice. So I think some of the strengths of the squad firstly have to be the timings. Not only in terms of Hunden's ability to call timings where his team can get into positions they probably shouldn't have. You saw plenty of rounds there where they were able to get onto bomb sites because their timings across the map were great. But they also have great timings in terms of their reactionary utility, oftentimes getting flashbangs just in time to set up their teammates. So that is definitely a big strength. The second strength has to be the team play and how well drilled this squad are under the leadership of Hunden. You get to see so many rounds where they're really good on the trades. They never seem to give away rounds due to big mistakes. That will very rarely be the case. I think thirdly, having Hunden as that in-game leader is a big benefit to this squad. I feel like he's recently really improved at also playing the percentages when he's down in a 4v5. That seems to be the biggest improvement in his game, in my opinion, in the last few months or so. On the other side of the coin, though, the first downside for Mad Lions at a big event like Katowice has to be the fragging power. You know, I've seen some games where I'm pretty sure Vitality are switching up their CT setups because they don't want teams to be able to avoid ZywOo if they always know where he's playing. I almost feel like Mad Lions might have to do the opposite of that with Hunden at this tournament. They might just have to switch up his position because otherwise he could easily get exploited. Seriously, if you know Hunden's playing B every round, if you want to pressure him, if you want to test him, that's probably not a bad shout, right? Secondly, even though the Mad Lions players played really well in this qualifier, there is always the question as to whether that can transition into a big LAN. The problem for me with Mad Lions is that the entire team have to be fragging well because you can almost be sure that Hunden is not going to be putting up massive numbers. And in theory, that can work okay, but it just takes 1 or 2 players to be a bit below their level because of LAN jitters, and then you start to struggle to see where the fragging's going to come from. So guys, let me know if you enjoyed this longer piece of content focused on one team. Definitely impressed with this Mad Lions team, and I will absolutely be keeping an eye on them in their upcoming tournaments. And other than that, thank you guys for watching. My name is Hawker, and I will catch you next time.